Wait, wasn't this story that was hanging in your bathroom?
It was hanging in there, yes.
Yes.
When you were here last time, it was hanging there.
That's for inspiration.
Yes, exactly. Well, you know, you come out and you wash your hands like,
That's
hell
right.
yeah, I'm going to play some. It's okay?
This is great. I'm telling you. I'm glad that we came here too, because there was kind of talk of like how we were going to do this.
Okay.
You know, it was like, oh, maybe you can
Do
go
it
to
at
the hotel.
Oh,
or the
okay,
venue.
yeah,
And
yeah.
It's like, yeah,
It's
but
just-
all the setup's so fucking cool. What cabinets are these?
Actually, that brand,
That brand?
they were so nice. I was just asking, do I need cabinets
Yeah,
for something cool?
yeah.
And they're like, yes. We have all these that we had for festivals. I just shipped
Oh
them
my God.
in a couple of pallets.
Where are they based?
Poland.
Oh wow.
All right, so I just clap and then we start.
Okay.
That's
do it.
And
Awesome.
you know, it's all about having a chill time, and you know, there's a dog. And there's, you know,
There's a dog and coffee.
yeah. No, but it's just yeah. It's how's the cappuccino, by the way?
Good.
Really?
Yeah, for real.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
That's the 1st
You're-
time.
Well,
Yeah.
Add it to
go-
your
yeah.
resume.
Yeah.
go into the business.
What's up, everyone? And welcome to Coffee with Ola. Today I have the immense pleasure to have John Petrucci and Mike Portnoy of Dream Theater. Thank you so much and for being here. I'm just.
Thanks for having us,
I
man.
mean,
Thanks for
I've had John over for coffee before, but
That's right.
Seeing you here, seeing today makes me insanely happy. I'm not the only Dream Theater fan that's just very happy to have you back.
Thank you.
Very excited for the new album and everything that's coming, and you know, excited for the show, and welcome back.
Thank you.
How
Well-
does it feel?
It feels great. I mean, it's funny because for the whole world, they're just starting to see the reunion now.
Yeah.
But we've been together for a year.
Yeah.
Behind the scenes.
That's right.
You know, so it's been over a year for us. You know, behind the scenes and making the new record, but it's only now in the past couple of weeks since the tour began and since the first music video came out that people are actually seeing us back together again. But for us, it's like,
Yeah.
it's old news. What do you
I
mean?
know, exactly.
But
What's everybody so excited about?
yeah, it is exciting though. You could feel the excitement and the love and the emotions
Yeah.
at
Yes.
every show.
Yeah.
And every night, James, you know, welcomes me back from stage, and it's just it's been overwhelming the amount of love and you know, just everybody being so welcoming back and everything.
Yeah, and I think Dream Theater probably has one of the best fans in the world. Like just
Best and worst.
Oh, well, how so?
Well, best because they are so fanatical
Yeah.
and so devoted and so passionate.
Yeah.
But with that also comes so critical.
Right.
Very critical,
Right.
very demanding, very opinionated. But I mean, really, you can't complain. I mean, that's
No.
what makes them so great.
Okay, so you released a single, Night Terror, from the upcoming album, and like I told you in the car, like it feels like it's almost a fan service of a song. It like has everything that anyone would want from a Dream Theater song. Just hearing the fills and all of that, it's like, wow. It's,
Well, you know what's great about you saying that is that there was some back and forth as to what single we should lead
Yes.
with. And Night Terror is the first song that we wrote together. When we got together, that's what came out of us.
okay, cool.
And so, you know, for us, I mean, yeah, maybe there are songs that are a little bit more immediate to the general
Yeah.
fan base.
Yeah.
But for us, we felt it was important that the first thing that people heard is, listen, this is like what Dream Theater is.
Yeah.
This is the first thing we wrote. This identifies, you know, all the stuff that everybody loves about the band and
Yeah.
showcases Mike. I always said you know, that opening fill before the guitar riff that Mike does. It's like that fill is like, I'm back, baby.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
In case you missed me. I was like that, and I think he did that in one take. It was
Yeah.
like, yeah, that's it. That's the signature.
How did that even feel, like being back and recording again?
Well, like
I mean,
John's-
obviously you've been working a lot. It's not like you've been slacking for the past years. You've been working a lot.
Yeah.
But I mean, it must definitely be a thing to be back.
Well,
in the
to be back
headquarters.
home
Yeah.
with these guys, I mean, it feels really special. Really, it feels like family. Really, honestly, this is, you know, we've been John and me and John Mayung have, been playing together almost 40 years at this point. We formed the band when we were teenagers and met at college, the first month of college. So for us, it's deeper than just being in a band together. We've been through life together.
Right.
We met our wives together. Our wives played in band together. We had our families at the same time. We've been to the funerals of each other's parents and siblings and things like that. So we've been through all these life experiences together. It goes beyond just the music for us. All that being said, it also, at least to me, felt like no time had passed.
Yeah.
It did not feel like
I know.
13 years.
I know.
Like once we started writing together, it felt like so natural and so fresh and like Night Terror was the first thing we worked on and just came out so naturally. There wasn't much thought needed to go into it. It just it was like, okay, here we are. It's like where we just left off,
Exactly.
Wow.
It's tough for explaining for anybody out there who have been in bands with their friends, and you almost have like an unspoken language. Like you just somebody plays something, I know what he means when he plays it, and I respond, and vice versa.
Yep.
So it's like immediately, just the songs just developed and grew in such a natural and organic way. It was like so cool.
And I think that's also, it also shows in your live shows that, you guys have been playing for a long time together. And
Not to interrupt you, but the other day we're at soundcheck and somebody said something, and him and I said the exact same thing at the exact same time as a joke response, and we both said we've never said that before ever in our life, but it was like at the same time, like in stereo. So yeah.
This new album, Parasomnia, you said that it was conceptual, but it's not a concept album. Can you explain a little bit?
Sure.
What it's about, basically.
Yeah, without giving too much of it away, because we always like to keep the mystery. But I think this has been said before. The album's called Parasomnia, and for those people that don't know what that is, it kind of encompasses a broad range of sleep disturbances. And that could range from like snoring to some scarier things like sleepwalking, night terrors, and false awakenings and things like that are actually really very frightening for the people that it happens to. So much in the way that 6 Degrees of Inner Turbulence had it, which I know is a special album for you and Luis, much of that had a lyrical theme to it, where there were different case studies having to do with challenges of mental illness and stuff like that. Parasomnia is sort of the sleep disturbance version of that, but in an entire record as opposed to just a song.
Wow. It's very rare, I would say, to find bands like this, where this is almost, in some bands like Pantera, I would say Eddie Van Halen, you have this brotherly gel that you guys also have, probably from playing so much together.
I think those are two great examples. I've often cited, in comparison to mine and John's relationship musically, I've cited Eddie and Alex Van Halen, Vinnie Paul and Dimebag, and also James Hetfield, Lars Ulrich. That relationship between guitar and drums, but beyond just the playing and the guitar and the drum, the guitar playing and the drumming, it's also the writing chemistry. I definitely feel like with John and with the chemistry between the guitar and drums in this band, it's kind of like the real anchor to this kind of music. It's very guitar and drum driven music, and I think that's kind of maybe what has made Dream Theater, I don't want to say rise above, but in terms of commercial success from the other prog metal bands that are out there. I think a lot of the prog music is sometimes maybe too old school or too much keyboards, whereas with Dream Theater it's very contemporary sounding, very modern, very heavy, and I think that's why Dream Theater, the band's success, has kind of elevated beyond a lot of the other prog scene. I don't know, it just seems like there's something special there that's and I know it from having been away all these years and having done all the different bands and things that I've done. Like coming back and playing with John, there's definitely a relationship there that's special.
And it's to just off of what Mike said, like for us, the important part of the prog label is the metal part.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's, you know, when we were young and like we were like Metallica fans and
Yeah.
Maiden and stuff, but then we were also loved Yes, and we just sort of put it together. So that's always been like a focus, is that metal side. I mean, there's some Dream Theater songs that are a little bit more,
Yeah.
you know, softer or palatable, but
Absolutely.
in general, the style of the band always has that metal side to it. And you know, the other thing about such a long-term brotherly musical and relationship and friendship that we have is you kind of know when something works and when something doesn't, and it's great having that
Yeah.
partnership and having Mike back
Yeah.
in that, like somebody, you know, I don't know.
No, you need to bounce with someone.
Yeah, somebody will play something or do something, and it's like, yeah, no. Yeah, or like, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and it's great having that.
Was it a complete like marriage, or is it like still you're like, nah, not this, and you know, fighting back and forth a little bit, like fighting for the songs? Sometimes that needs to happen.
You know,
too.
no fighting
Never.
really.
I think we very rarely disagree. Very
Yeah.
rarely.
Yeah.
I mean, I could only think of a handful of times throughout 40 years where we weren't on the same page.
Yeah.
Right.
It very rarely happens.
Exactly. It's also the thing that the way that we approach writing music or being creative, even in a lyrical sense, is that there's always more. There's always options.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you dig your heels in on something that you know you feel passionate about, but if you're not selling it,
Yeah.
you know, there's more notes. Just try something different. There's more words. There's a different word for that. Sometimes, you know, it ends up being better.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
so it's important to kind of listen to everybody.
So that's something I'm like songwriting aspect. I'm very interested in. Like, how do you think of lyrical melodies when you write, or do you write like if you have a verse or a chorus? Do you start with the vocals, or like how?
No.
You're a guitar.
What?
No, but just thinking because obviously when you write something, it's not always that the music or like the vocals
Yeah.
turn out the way you want, and then you might have to change something, or
Yeah.
you know, the themes. I'm just thinking like, okay, where do the vocals get written in that sense?
Yeah.
It seems like it's afterwards.
Well, it's always been afterwards
Yeah.
for Dream Theater.
Yeah.
We started at Berkeley with just the three of us and no singer. We wrote When Dream and Day Unite instrumentally before Charlie was in the band. We wrote Images and Words instrumentally before James was in the band. So we, right out of the gates, like the first 3 or 4 albums worth of material we wrote was always written instrumentally first. And
Oh, go on. There's someone up there.
but yeah, and I could tell you just from having done all the different things I have done throughout the last 13 years, coming back to this, I remember saying to you guys in
Yeah,
the studio,
it's like unusual.
because everything else I had done all these years, the vocalist was always, the melodies and
Yep.
the lyrics were part of that first stage. Whereas with Dream Theater, it's always been music first. We write the music instrumentally, and then we sit down, like for instance with this album in particular, once the music was done, then we got together and we did like a melody writing
Yeah.
session where we, you know, John, myself, Jordan, and James just sat there and went through every song and la da 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 dee da 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 da, and then once we established the melodies and kind of, you know, just do gibber
Yep.
phrasings, gibberish phrasings and melodies. Then from there, we figure who's going to write the lyrics,
Yep.
split up the lyrics, and then the lyrics are written from there.
All right.
So most of the times it works out.
Yeah.
Because as we're writing the music, we do know, like, this is a vocal section.
Yeah.
This is a chorus.
Of
This, you
course.
know, so it's kind of, it might lend itself to being more melodic, but every once in a while it bites us in the ass. There were a couple of songs on the album where we were like stuck on like,
Yeah.
where the music was already done and we were like, man, why do we do that? Like, we should go, you know, there's no way this is going to work for a vocal. You know, we should go back and change it, but at that point it's too late. And then we really got to work extra hard
Right.
on making the vocals sound natural. You know, maybe it's like just a weird combination of time signatures
Yeah.
or the rhythm motif is too complicated.
Right.
How the hell
Yeah.
is anybody going to sing this? But, you know, you get to it.
Yeah.
But all that being said, I think another aspect that kind of sets Dream Theater a little further apart from some of the rest of the prog world is the vocal melodies are very hooky. If you listen to this album,
Yeah.
every song has got huge choruses with like melodic hooks that just sink into you and don't let go. And I think that's always been an important thing for Dream Theater. If you look at Images and Words, I think that's what, songs like Pull Me Under and Take the Time, they had hooky choruses, and that's always been important to us. It is important to shred and have crazy time signatures and have heavy riffs, but also we love melodic bands, bands that have singers that you remember the melodies and the hooks and the choruses, and that's always been very important to us.
Yeah, playing live is very telling for a band.
Yes,
it's
absolutely.
very telling because you could, if everything you did was just like over the top, you'd feel a lot of glazed over eyes in the audience.
Absolutely.
But when we kick into something that's more open, or the groove is just like solid, or the melody is just so beautiful and the chorus is big, you can see and feel that reaction.
The audience gets to breathe, and
They
there's
get
a little
to
bit
breathe,
of
exactly.
room to...
Even in a song like Metropolis, like when the groove of the first verse comes in, I mean, that's four on the floor pretty much. It's like, and you feel that, and then like you do technical stuff, and everybody kind of holds their breath, and then the chorus comes in, and it's like everyone's singing. So that live interaction, and we've always been international touring band. We've always put a lot of emphasis on that, and it's really helpful to songwriting.
Yeah.
You can see how things, even on the new record. The coffee is making me yappy.
No, that's great. That's
I'm like, blah, 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 blah.
It's an interview.
That's the trick.
Yeah, the other day, Night Terror is in the set, and when we kicked into the song, and it just has this big open thing, and the lights and lasers are going and stuff. After the show, I'm like, you know what? We just wrote like the perfect arena opening thing, like, you know what I mean? It's like those moments really work, and then you get into the meat of the song and you go back and forth. So.
Do you think of this when you actually write the song as well? Like, is this gonna work live? Like, is this gonna, because some things you have to kind of dial back a little bit, to be able to, like, okay, this needs to groove live.
Yes.
Like, and some, like you said, some sections need to breathe more and work, before you go into the craziness again and all of that. So that is something you think about a lot.
Definitely. I mean, some of that I think is instinctual, just from having all this experience. But of course, I always go back to, you'll laugh, I don't know if you remember this, when we saw Queensryche a long time ago, and we met Chris DeGarmo, and he was talking to us, and I guess it was during the Mindcrime tour, maybe. And they were playing arenas, and he was like, big shapes, man, big shapes. And I never forget that. Like, every so often that comes up, and like what he meant was, you do have to do that thing where you kind of let the music simplify at those times. Yeah, so big shapes.
And I think it's true. I think it's going back to what we're talking about, like writing vocal melodies. We're very conscious when it's a verse and a chorus, and when we're supposed to lay back and let the vocals carry. It's something that we're very conscious of.
Yeah, and that also, obviously, on an album, ups and downs on an album. I think probably one of the best my favorite concept albums is Scenes from a Memory, for instance, which is very dramatic, but also has all the, it's a trip listening to the songs, and it's like watching a full movie.
I think Parasomnia, the upcoming album, is very similar to Scenes in that respect. It's very cinematic. It was constructed in a way that it's meant to be digested from top to bottom, from start to finish, like Dark Side of the Moon or Scenes from a Memory or something like that. It's not a concept album in terms of telling a story like Operation Mindcrime or Scenes from a Memory, but it's thematic, like Dark Side of the Moon or Octavarium or 6 Degrees, where it's supposed to flow from start to finish, and it feels very cinematic. People will immediately recognize that when they hear the new album.
So that makes me think, since we're in a digital era, where people might not listen to a full album.
Right.
They listen to singles or Spotify or playlists even. I mean, that has to also have to be a challenge as a band. If they don't get the context, for me personally, like if you have a song on an album, all the other songs make that song.
Right.
What comes before, what comes after, and all
sure.
that. And that has to also be a challenge. Like, okay, you have to write singles as well.
I think in the case of this album, the songs can be freestanding. Like if you heard Night Terror, you wouldn't know just from hearing it that it's actually comes out of an overture, you know.
Right.
So you listen to the album, you could get that full start to finish experience. But I think also all the songs that we wrote can be freestanding individual songs that could be played on the radio or part of a playlist or whatever. To me, the perfect world is having that balance of both, and I think we kind of have that with this new album.
I think with the fans of Dream Theater, it's not the normal fans. I would say you have the fans that actually listen to the album. I think so. I think in that regard, you're not affected as much.
No, and we're also, we still think old school.
Yeah.
Like, even though things have changed around us, we're like Mike said, we remember putting on Dark Side with your friends.
Yeah.
You listen to a record as if you're watching a movie. It's like an event. You shut the lights down, do whatever it is. So we kind of just we still do that.
Yeah, good.
We just assume everyone's going to do that, but they probably won't. But but that's how we don't say, oh well, we can't do that because they're only going to get one song.
Yeah.
I think that would just stifle creativity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're on a 40th year anniversary tour right now.
And we're only in our 30s, so it's so bizarre. I don't know how that happened. It's like somehow negative time.
Yeah. And is Mike back doing set lists? And
yes, he is.
Yeah.
Okay,
absolutely.
Is it dead on?
What do you mean?
Like, is it perfect?
Oh my God, it's amazing. The reactions to the set list have every night.
Yeah.
Oh my God, this set. Oh my God, this set.
Are you
It's
playing different sets now every show, or you
No.
switch out songs here and there? Or?
I think we'll eventually get back to that eventually, but right now, it's the set list is static. I think for two reasons. First of all, it's a fucking great set list. I think if this show is celebrating the band's whole history, I think the current set list really has a little bit of something for everybody. Covers all the different eras, and it's, I think, in my opinion, the strongest songs. First set comes out of the gates just swinging. Second set gets a little deeper with some deep cuts. Encore set kind of leaves everybody satisfied. It's a very balanced ride. So for that reason alone, I think it's important for everybody to see this show without fucking with it too much. But the other reason is, we haven't toured together in almost 14 years or whatever it's been. So we wanted to get our tour legs back and get comfortable again. And so the set list for a while she'll remain the same. But I think, as time goes on, it'll start evolving. And we should also mention that this whole tour cycle is going to go through two phases. I mean, right now, the first 6 to 8 months or whatever is going to be the 40th anniversary and also celebrating the reunion of this lineup. So that's kind of the focus. But once Parasomnia comes out next year, it'll slowly shift over to the second phase of the cycle, which will be focusing more on the new album. So it's kind of like the first half of this world tour is looking back, and then the second half of this world tour will be looking forward.
So are you coming back to Sweden for that album then?
Probably.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
I think the plan is to, because it wouldn't be fair to be playing all these places now and then put out a new album and then ignore it.
Yeah, exactly.
We're very excited by the new album. We want to. It was meant to be performed in its entirety, so we're looking forward to that. So the idea is to kind of go around the world twice.
Yes.
And do both cycles.
And that's why I say, like, you're just doing fan services all the time. You guys are working your ass off. You're such a hard-working band. I mean, I can always expect that you come back with like an album almost every other year, or like every 2-3 years, and then immediately kick off, come to Europe and Sweden, always Europe first for some reason.
Yeah.
And if you just like, it's such a relief as a fan to know that you will deliver all the time. I mean, some bands, they don't release album for 10 years.
Yeah.
And it feels like it's such a band I can trust all the time.
Awesome.
And
We're consistent.
You're consistent, exactly. Speaking of like playing some, you're playing songs from different eras of Dream Theater.
Yeah.
Like, what's the hardest song to play today?
The hardest song to play?
Or the
Well,
toughest?
it got
That's not dancing.
I'll tell you
Eternity.
one. It got easier when we started rehearsals in the song. This Panic Attack, and that's as a guitar player, that's on a baritone guitar, so it's a long scale guitar. The strings are like telephone cables.
A little further, like between the frets.
And it's the tempo's fast, and it's literally all picking and doing this thing. So when we first started rehearsing that, I was like, oh my god, like how we could? It's like, can we slow this down a little bit? And now I find, song comes in, I'm like, I'm there. I'm like, play it faster. So that was a challenge in the beginning. Some of the ones that you just haven't touched in a long time, you almost have to reacquaint yourself with a technique.
Right.
That maybe at the time when you wrote that, you were really comfortable with a certain technique, so you wrote it. And then you go back, you're like, why the hell did I do that? But they eventually become easier.
Do you play with a click live, or do you keep it completely natural and by vibe?
With me back in the band, it was a discussion we had very early on because I don't know if I'm giving anything away here, but
it's fine.
with Mike Mangini, they were playing with clicks and to tracks and stuff like that. Whatever, I can't speak for them.
That's understandable. I mean, you come into a band and you need to learn a lot of songs. I mean, obviously you need to have a steady ground somewhere. So in that sense,
well, I mean, we had our concept at the time. When Mike was not in the band, was that we were going to kind of do this show presentation that was going to be very dramatically like exact. So everything
with lights and
and in fact we took that to the extreme on the Astonishing tour, where that whole it was so orchestrally the orchestra and choir and all, it was such a big part of it that we didn't have an orchestra with us, so that was playing back. And the movie was such a big part of it. It's like, there's no way we can do this if we're not playing to a click and everything is controlled. Now, fast forward with Mike back, that's not something, that interests you at all, and it's great as well. And in some ways, it brings all of us back to the way we used to do things, and that the ebb and flow. I will say about Mike, one of the things that makes him such a great drummer is he instinctually knows when to pull and push apart, and you can feel that during the show, and I think that's probably a difference that's palpable to fans when they say you see kind of this breathing and this back and forth. In order to do that, you can't play to a click.
No, I mean it was one of the first discussions we had when we started talking about the live show, and the set list was one question I had. Can I do that again? Can I have that roll back?
I was like, please. We were at the dinner one night, and I handed him a plate, and I was like, I'm putting the plate back.
Taking it off my plate.
I was like, no, I don't want to do. So
But the other issue was the click, and also the singing. Like I said to these guys, okay. Do you want me singing again? Because I do a lot of singing live. Is that okay? And they were like, yes, that's part of the sound. We want that back. And then the other thing that was concerning to me was to click or not to click. And I told the guys, look, I'm not comfortable playing with the click live. I would much rather have the human element. For me, I feed off of the energy of the audience. I don't know if it's just because I'm a drummer or it's just my personality, but I am spending the whole show looking at the audience and feeling the interaction and pushing and pulling and giving and taking. And sometimes, there's even some moments in the show where we stretch a little, and if you're on tracks and if you're on a click, you can't really
do that.
You can't like stray from the path. No. And to me, I like having that human element. I like having that things could change from night to night and go different places. So luckily the guys were totally cool with it, and that was a relief for me. So here we are. It's back to the way it always was. You know?
That's cool. I mean, then it's truly live. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we already have the album. The album is the tempo and all. You want to feel alive when you play live. And that makes me happy. Also, when it's this type of crazy, technical music, it's nice to hear.
And it's also, not only the band, but all of our fans are so excited to have Mike back in the band. So it's like we wanted to embrace what he's all about, not like, no man, you got to do this. No, you gotta. It's like, let's do all the stuff, even though we're not doing it now. Eventually, the changing set lists or whatever it might involve. All the stuff that Mike used to do. bring it back. You know.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah, it's cool.
That's awesome.
I'll let you in on a little trick that I think our fans know it, but we do have a system. In lieu of a click track, we do have a system where I have electronic pads that
Okay.
that only we can hear, only us on stage and our light man and our sound, our front of house guy, they could hear. So in between songs, when we're sitting in a blackout, to count a song in, I use the or if there's an extended period where there's no drums, I'll count it out
Yeah.
for the guys.
Yes.
So it's kind of like a man-made click track.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
actually manually doing it myself, but at least
It's a
it's
good
holding
cue.
everybody together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. I have one last thing that I wanted to bring up. First, let's start with a question. Favorite Pantera album? Let's start with I'm a Pantera fan. That's
Far
why
Beyond
I'm-
Driven.
Yes. Okay.
Vulgar Display. I mean, to me, that was just a game changer.
Yeah. Well, you disagree on that.
You know.
The last thing I wanted to, did you see this, by the way?
Saw it.
Let me
I
tell-
don't
let me
know
tell you
the story of it.
I just want to tell you about it. This is from the Ibanez era.
That's right.
So it's end '90s. I went to a clinic, and I got this sign that says to Englund Jr. because I was. I think they didn't know my name,
To Englund Jr.
so they pre-gave me a poster. Like, okay, to Englund Jr. I later got a real. Like, I came up to the table and got
Right.
a real autograph.
That's
But
awesome.
I think this is funny, and it's just reminds me that it's the beginning of my guitar playing career.
Amazing.
And,
So
I have a lot to thank for John and rock discipline and playing guitar and all that. And the thing is that last time you were here, you were watching. I have a bunch of guitars in there. Maddie was here
Yeah.
as well, and he said you don't have a Majesty.
Wait, do you still not have a Majesty?
I do have a Majesty.
Oh, you have
I got it, so I'm gonna bring it out. I figured you would time it
Of course.
if that's okay. I felt so ashamed almost.
Wait, wasn't this story that was hanging in your bathroom?
It was hanging in there. Yes,
Yes, yes.
When you were here last time, it was hanging there.
That's for inspiration.
Yes, exactly. Well, you come out and you wash your hands like,
That's
hell
right.
yeah, I'm gonna play some.
Hey, on another note, congrats on your new single.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, man.
I appreciate
Yeah.
that. And
Sounds great.
you did a cameo in there, driving a Mario Kart.
That surprised me.
You'll be hearing from his lawyer.
Exactly. No, actually, I had to delay the single a little bit because Wayne had to do some stuff for you guys.
Oh my God. Sorry.
But it was good actually because then we got all the merch
Yeah.
in check. So it was not a problem.
And shout out to Wayne Joyner,
Yes.
who did your video, obviously, but does all of the Dream Theater Live tour graphics and stuff. The
Yeah.
guy is just like
No, he's amazing.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
He was working overtime because not only did he have to prepare all the touring visuals, but he also did a visualizer for the new album. So I guess one of the editions, a special edition of the box or whatever, I'm not sure, but comes with the album in surround with.
Yeah.
And Wayne had to make videos for every song on the album,
wow.
so
Yeah,
he
he
was
had a lot to do.
he was doing both at the same time, doing the entire new album and the entire tour.
Wow.
Creating content for both.
I have no problem with the song being delayed 2 weeks. My song, I mean. It's completely fine.
So what'd you get?
I got this.
Wow.
Oh, that's the one that changes colors, right?
Yeah.
This is the color change.
I almost got one from the camp, the Petrucci camp.
Yeah.
There was one with like a tobacco burst, but it was 8-string. And I was like,
I know I'm a little confused. This is a Mystic Dream color.
Yeah.
But it's a Shield one. I thought we did the Mystic Dream I currently have is like it's like a full opaque top, and it's a more glassy vibe. Maybe I'm just like spacing out. I don't remember doing a Mystic Dream
I don't know how you keep track. You have
matte
so many.
Shield.
oh, this looks old.
Definitely. Huh. Well, obviously we must have done it. I just don't, I don't recall.
Don't tell me it's a fake. Or
No,
something like that.
I just like Mike said. I don't know how to keep track, but it's like so
You
many.
just released a 10th anniversary too.
we
That's
just
really
released
cool.
the 10th anniversary.
How
of
do
Majesty.
how does
Yes.
a European get a hold of that?
You spend,
We're no dealers.
You spend some kroners or
Oh
euros.
yeah, my Draknars,
Drachnars.
Swedish Draknar.
How does a European? That's a good question.
Yeah,
Why don't we?
I watched the website and there was only American dealers.
Interesting. All right, we'll get on that. Where'd you like
Just
it, my
busting
friend?
your balls. Right here.
Okay. Uh-oh.
Don't split.
Oh, boy.
Rip
Oh,
it
that's
off
one of
and
those.
Oh, God. My hands are very, like...
There you go.
Remember the last one I signed? I put the wrong date.
it was what was wrong? The month or the year?
the day.
The day.
The day. Okay,
signed it.
that's
Not too
understandable.
bad.
Yeah.
As long as you got the year right.
It was COVID times.
Yeah.
Too. So it was could have been just confusing.
There you go.
Just don't write a date this time.
Do you... No. Just leave it
I
like
appreciate
that.
it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for getting it.
Oh, dude, pleasure.
I see you got this, the DiMarzio's.
That was on
clip-ons.
it.
Yeah.
So
Perfect.
Yeah. Thank you so
Beautiful.
much.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mike.
My stomach is growling.
That's okay.
I know,
Mike
mine's been
isn't-
doing that too.
Mike isn't picking it up. Thank you for having us.
No,
man.
thank you so much for coming here, and hope you have a great show this evening.
Thank you.
And maybe we can do something else next time. Hopefully,
Sounds
when we
perfect.
get back to Stockholm. again.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
And best of luck with everything, man.
Thank you so much.
Everything going on.
Awesome. Appreciate it.
Cool,
Thank
bud.
you so much, guys.
All right.
You're-
Thank
you're
you, man.
amazing.